Hi everyone and welcome to episode 21 of Coffee with Cheese. I'm your host Narciso Bomben. Hope all the mothers out there had an amazing Mother's Day weekend. And today we carry on the mini-series with life events and how it impacts your finances. So I thought what better topic to pick in light of the recent Mother's Day than planning for a family. So starting a family with your first child. There's a lot of very important things to think about. First and foremost is from a budgeting and a cash flow perspective. As a proud parent of two lovely daughters, I can attest to the fact that raising kids is not inexpensive between all the various needs from infancy right up to now their preteen and teenage years and activities. So a lot of great joy, but suffice it to say, what you spend is going to change, right? So it's important to understand there's a lot of great resources around what things will cost for kids. So getting a handle around a budget and how to move that around and to start spending money for kids and their activities is a very critical piece of parenthood. Certainly as you think of one of the most important things as our kids get older is their education. So that's where I wanted to spend a little bit of time. Certainly the RESP, the Registered Education Savings Plan, is probably a common thing for parents. What's a little less known is that it could also be a tool used by grandparents as an example, right? So, because it is tracked by child by social insurance number, let's start there. The first thing you need is to have a social insurance number for the child. Once you have that and you have an account opened up, everything is tracked there. And what do I mean by everything? Well, one of the key features of an RESP is the grant and the potential bond depending on the family income, right? So the government will provide a grant, and let's focus there, and let's use the common percent for the average family of 20%. So if you put in $2,500 in a calendar year, there's a $500 grant that gets added to be used for the kids' education. I don't want to call it free money because there's no such thing, but as far as your kids' education, it's something that the government puts in. So let's take a step back. One of the first things you should know is that there is a contribution limit lifetime per child of $50,000. Whether you're in a position to put the $50,000 in right from day one, which most people are not, or over the course of 18 or so years, it is tracked by social insurance number. That is the contribution limit. There also is a limit per grant, right? So a classic way to do it is if you start right from the child's first year and you do, let's say $2,500 a year, you're gonna get your $500 of grant money right up to the grant maximum. But if by some chance you miss a year and you're in a position to put in $5,000, you can catch up one extra year, so a $1,000 grant will come your way. Okay, so another benefit is as the money is invested, and this is a key part to make sure that it's invested correctly based on the child's age and how close to needing the funds for post-secondary, is that the growth is tax deferred. And what do I mean by deferred? Not unlike an RSP, when you take money out, it is taxed. In the case of the RESP, it's taxed in the child's hands. So typically that's little to no tax depending on what, if any, income they're earning during their university or college years. And again, you're only taxed on the growth and the growth of the grant, not the original contribution, okay? So the other question I get a lot is, Narciso, what if my kids don't go to university or college? So first and foremost, there's something called a family plan. If you have two or more kids, you can share money, not necessarily the grant money, but contribution and growth money around for kids that might require more for schooling, or in light of one child maybe deciding not to go forward with schooling. So a family plan always creates the flexibility. So that's something also I wanted to leave you with. But if none of the kids go to school, if there's only one child in the family, there is flexibility in a way you can take it out. Any of your original capital that was put in is not taxed. Yes, the grant money has to go back because it's not being used for schooling, but there is ways to get the money into an RRSP and continue the tax deferral process, or to take it out and it will be taxed in your hands. Okay, so again, Starting a family is an exciting time. You need to be very mindful around what is it going to cost to raise a kids through childhood, all the activities, and certainly education tends to be a big focus from a financial planning perspective. And also, it's not just parents. If you're a grandparent out there and you want to get involved and share some of your wealth accumulation to your grandkids, one of the ways to do it is through an RESP. Just make sure you're coordinating your efforts with your child, so that way you're not over contributing. And when the government sees all these contributions come in by social insurance number, everything makes sense. So it's very helpful to discuss this with the financial planner that is involved. Okay, so with that in mind, I wanted to close out this week's episode regarding starting a family and planning your finances there. As always, if you had any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the message boards, a comment, share it. And as always, I'm welcome to have a one-on-one virtual coffee with myself and you to answer any questions you may have. Okay? Thanks again for watching, and have yourself a great rest of the day.